This conference will now be recorded.
All right, let's do the pledge. We have an hour meeting. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, this is a budget workshop. Budget. With the department. Trying to get down to.
Charles.
So I can see the screen. I can't see that far. I just about the same distance, like the moon and the sun.
Okay.
So we will start, why don't we start with EMS because they are, so EMS and sewer plant aren't in the general fund, so they honestly should be pretty cheap because the revenue equals their expenses. Find it. And there was a mistake, there was, Cindy had 37,000 of the EMS still in the general fund, and that was supposed to be in DPW, so she corrected it.
What's that?
So there's no EMS in the general fund.
What's,
One's EMS and sewer. Indian giver.
This being a whole big thing, I would.
I thought that was, I noticed
Oh, sure.
DPW requested less than they had last year, so I knew something.
So
Yeah.
are you going over line item by line item or just in general?
All right, do whatever you guys want to do.
So we must have been sleeping on the job for a minute, but the EMS auto fuel needs to be increased from
oh, line
7K.
number.
The 45, 40, 220.
I take notes on that, Rob. I don't have theirs in a spreadsheet.
Okay. What's need to be?
Probably the same as last year's 12.
Yeah, or more.
How much?
12.
Ron, does your stuff,
I don't have theirs in a sheet.
sheets request in it?
Okay.
You guys have any
Does it?
Yeah.
Let me see.
questions on the other line items?
Well, the other,
What do you got for EMS?
since the money is saved anyways, does it have to, do we technically have to have an interfund transfer EMS reserves line item in the budget,
That's just for you to put money away out of.
out of the budget?
Yeah, beyond the
Okay.
budget.
That's like the fire reserve number.
Okay,
Yeah.
It's on your own, so.
Save for ambulances
And
or.
obviously, if you have any extra revenue on top of what the budget is, that'll get saved.
okay.
It's a savings account, basically.
So,
But
So
we
will
had
that be done like once a year you put in or each month?
normally once a year, but the other thing is we have to get a better definition of reserve fund.
Yeah.
I don't know, try to maybe for next meeting.
understand.
That's all, so what is the use of the reserve? What do you want? You tell us what you want.
Well, we brought into where we set up reserve.
Department head stuff.
I
Reserve.
mean, sometimes
Comes our
they
setup.
say, you want it for equipment, oh, you didn't say equipment.
Well, it could be anywhere from vehicles to supplies to, equipment.
Send us over what you think we should do for next Monday.
Okay,
Then we'll get with Nate because he's gonna write up the wording of, well, when we set it up and go to use it years from now, somebody can use it.
okay.
Yeah, or not.
Do you know what the payment's gonna be?
I haven't got it back, but it'll be around 26,000.
Okay, so the number in here is a good swag.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'm waiting for some more members.
And that's 5 year, correct?
5 years,
Yeah, it has to be less than 5 years.
125, I have about 125. You know it's 124.
123, 750 and 90 cents. I don't know why I remember that number, but I do.
There's always extra money somewhere. that you gotta pay.
I think the bank's like some of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are there any line items that need to be
David or?
Change names.
As part of the names, we need to clean up the names.
Yeah, the pumper truck, that needs to
Yeah.
be, yeah,
Take that out.
take that out.
Well, because most of the names are, we just copied from the fire department 2 years ago or whatever.
Take that whole line out, right?
There's nothing in it anyway.
Right.
We
Yeah,
just
but I
copied from the
mean-
fire department, put EMS in front of them.
Even the truck.
So Rodney, you're removing E4540, 20205 pumper truck, you're taking that out of the lines.
Out of there now.
What's that?
Yes.
Yep. Thank you.
There's zero in there.
Yeah,
And the tires, that was the 45, 40, 40, 680 tires, that can come out because that's covered under vehicle maintenance.
okay. Yeah, depends how you guys want to split them out or not.
Yeah, it's just it's easier to keep it the same.
I guess my question is, on the revenue side, do you think we're gonna hit? It's like 400 and,
Yeah,
You're-
I don't know. We're living, but you know,
you're
low
on track,
budget right now.
you're on track to hit about 350 this year.
We are on track for 350?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
We never thought we'd be on
Can we
track
make
for 400.
$400,000 more next year?
Also,
I don't know.
when we put the budget together, we were not expecting the extra $41,000 for your department.
Right. I'm gonna,
So
yeah, so
we thought it was a mistake and I think I think we got yelled at, so.
No,
yeah, that's how the sewer department does it too.
so everybody chips in.
Well, and now that we understand that, well, yeah.
Problem.
What's some of the flow in here, right? You said performance.
Just a couple more.
Yeah, that's right. Come from bills.
When does the evidence come back to the new chance?
I keep seeing pictures of it, I think I've seen it.
Yeah, soon, less than 4 weeks.
How's our, did we get our loaner back? I thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
They put a new radiator in it, and then Al did a quick little tighten up on the transmission cooling one.
Okay.
So
I think so, looking good with the EMS budget with those changes.
you're going faster than I can go. So what did we do? We changed the fuel?
We changed the fuel.
What did we change it
Raise
to?
it to 12,000.
12,000.
We changed it, we put the fuel at 12, okay? And then we took those other two line items out. Did we change, what else did we change?
We changed anything, the only change was the fuel.
Okay.
So
And I wanted to change the revenue, the order,
But I mean, like.
what the expenses.
Okay, so do we want to go through this line by line, or why would we not? I mean, why would we not? I would think we would, but maybe not. Maybe that's not play.
Whatever you guys want to do that. EMS budget, much like the sewer budget, we don't want to do that one line by line either.
Oh, you should.
Maybe we check that the revenue matches the expenses. The department thinks they can bring in that much revenue.
Yeah, okay. I'm just asking, because I've done a lot of these in the past, and we generally go through line by line and say, oh, wait, that's out of line. You don't just,
We can do that if you want.
I do have a quick question on, just for, I don't know what we call it, Rodney, tracking and clarity. Would we want to have two different line items for full-time salary? One for the EMTs that we pay and another one for that other,
Administrative.
those other pieces? Would we want to do that? We want to break that out so that we understand that, or want to lump that all together?
Good question. We don't break it out on the sewer stuff. Maybe we should there too, though.
Let's bounce out to yours again. Which one's easier for them?
if that's not a, I don't know, if that's not a big problem, yeah, that would be a clearer way to have that broken down. But
Do I have these broken out, so all in one page?
that's not, that,
That's not for our benefit.
that's right, that's not their call, that's a village.
That's their benefit, not mine.
Right.
We'll see which one's best.
It would help us understand.
Just when you look at it and you say, how come, yeah, why is this? Well, oh, now we gotta go find out how much, yeah, it just seems that it's more quick.
It would make it easier for us to compare what the sewer department's paying versus us. I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
but
Well, you just go right ahead and do that.
no.
You just go right ahead and compare what the sewer department, and then you fuss about that.
As long as we understand the numbers.
Mhm.
We are not making a fuss. Don't you idea?
I didn't bring up the idea so that we could compare it with the sewer department.
Oh, it was just a phrase.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Really?
More professional, please.
So I suppose, like the sewer department with the EMS budget, it's really a question of whether you guys can hit the revenue. And then as we go through the year, we track that, changes have to be made. It's not tied to the tax rate, if that makes sense. So
And,
the only way it's tied to the tax rate is if you don't make enough money and you spend too much money.
right. And you know, we're constantly making sure that
Yeah,
we're
we-
at.
I mean, and we won't watch that, so I'm not worried.
Right.
So, Ron, so when we get to the end of the year and we've taken in a certain amount of money, EMS, and we have certain outgo and we've taken in more than we spent. So that's in, so now we have a separate fund, that's in the fund. That money is in the fund, just stays in the fund. It's not technically a reserve, but it stays in the fund, and so in its own way, it's a touch of a reserve.
They can have a little fund balance.
We can do that to a point. I mean,
There'll be a
the
time when we,
legalities there, you can't have
that's right,
$6 million.
which is why we're gonna, that's right, that's why we're gonna establish a reserve, but we don't have to be shoving into the official reserve with official stuff that moment, but sometime we're gonna, if it gets big or whatever.
The good thing is to have a little funds balance if you need it.
Oh, yeah, and you don't put,
Then if you're gonna get elections, then we start putting it.
yeah, so we want extra in the fund, and then if we have extra, we'll have a reserve. That being said, so we have did we talk about this already, that we have $20,000 in reserve on the last line on the whole thing?
Yeah, so I would classify that as their contingency almost, right? I mean, that's the last thing that we take out of the budget.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, since all extra money is staying in the fund, that is its own reserve.
Right.
So we don't have to have a $401,000 budget. We can have a $381,000 budget
Good, yeah.
because that reserve doesn't need to be
Part of the budget.
in the
If
budget.
we get to the end of the year, we don't put 20,000 in there, we don't put 20,000.
So
Hopefully we do.
It can be there, we're not gonna meet it, and then we're gonna have to say, what,
I don't know, but I mean, what do you want to do? You want to make that lower than $1,000? And if you have extra, we'll put it in there. That way you, your projection on to hit 400, you have to be 80. It's up to you guys.
You,
It's all your money anyway.
Yeah. I know what he's talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have, yeah, I think that's fine.
Right, so,
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Want to try that?
I'm just trying to make it clean. If we're projecting
Yeah.
350,000, then let's try to make 350,000 be what we're putting here.
I think their budget's going to be roughly 381.
If we take that 20.
19,000 out of the reserve fund, make it 1,000. If they have more, they can put in later, but now they don't have to come up with 400,000 to be breaking even.
This is my last analysis, which has you guys in it.
What do you got?
So through the 8th month, we've made 216, 726.
Mike, when you say we've made that much, does that include,
Oh, no, that's the spec. Where's the rest?
Yeah.
241.
through 8 months, we made 240?
845. For 8 months.
Through 8 months, we've taken
So
in
that's about 30,000 a month.
240, which is about 360 a year.
That's about
Again,
362
about another
a year.
90,000.
Does that money,
A year.
Mike?
That's about 362 this year, supposedly.
Does that include the money that we've paid MedX? Or is that just the money that's come in?
That includes, so that's the money that's come in. The MedX money goes out of budget.
Which we've been doing.
That's not what I'm talking about. So if that 240 is how much we've taken in, what we owe MedX 5% or 7% or whatever the hell we owe them.
Complicated because if it's Medicaid, it's a set fee.
But that's not been taken out of that 240 yet.
Well, no, when it comes out, it's in their budget as a line item.
You're not
Comes out
understanding.
of expenses.
It has come out.
Yeah.
The MedX fee is in this.
Comes out 4 times.
Okay.
7.6 if it's expensive.
So in this budget that I'm looking at, where's the money for the MedX?
It's under contracted services.
Okay.
$8%.
It depends on the bill.
Right.
Yeah, it's 7%, but then if it's Medicaid and Medicare, it's a set fee per bill.
And it's a different price per PCR period.
Right.
So that's why we want.
Okay. All right,
Anyway,
so-
we're on track this fiscal year to bring in about 360. We budgeted 325, so there should be extra budget. Once they start the fund.
Yeah.
So we're sniffing it, if that number is right and we continue that, we're sniffing 360. We're sniffing
380 something isn't probably out of the realm.
Yeah.
360, and we don't know exactly what the percent is for MedX.
No, it's-
It's too variable.
It depends.
Okay. So what are we guessing? Yeah, I know it depends on what, some things are some things, some things are other things, but still, what are we guessing is a general amount? Because this contracted services, and if there's more contracted services than just MedX, but it projects 17,600.
so it's gonna be- It's going to be a ratio to the revenue, basically.
I've authorized the ones for $3,000, for $4,000 to them. It depends on how many they get and whatever. So I can't even give you a straight ballpark because it changes too much.
Okay, well,
But it's like, it's about 4 times a year, because they send out,
okay.
And it's not just 7%, but 360,000, 7% will be 25,000.
That's right. That's what I was figuring myself, so it's not that.
A lot of our cases are the standard bill, which is why we went with that structure. And then they get like $12 a bill or something like that.
Yeah, it depends on if it's Medicaid or commercial or Medicare.
Because they know we get a lot less money.
Anyways, you've already basically answered my question, which was, when we're bringing in 360, but if we're paying MedX 20, we're really bringing in 340, but we've already taken under contracted services that money out. So I was wondering if we had to take that off of that.
Whether that number's right.
It doesn't matter whether it's right or not, but we don't have to take it off another place. It's already come out of there. I got it. That answered my question on that.
And obviously, we're not looking to pass the budget, any of the budgets tonight.
No, we're not doing that.
Just getting the ballpark.
We're getting them worked out pretty much.
But, so what will we do if we take that reserve out and we make it 381 and we bring in 340?
We gotta track that through the year and figure it out. We have options. Either we adjust the budget lower in places you haven't spent money yet, or we supplement that with money from the general fund somewhere. It's gotta come from somewhere.
And we are watching that on a monthly basis, like a hawk.
Well, we believe that the EMS is been doing that forever, and we believe that they've been doing it since they became their own department, and they're trying not to spend. We believe they're trying to, that the EMS is trying to spend, like whoever, is trying to spend less money than comes in. So we believe that that's the intent of them.
Like I said, last year we broke even basically, last fiscal year. This year, it's running here a little bit ahead, probably, which is good.
Did our insurance payment come out?
Which one?
Well, the vehicle insurance was up in the air for the longest time. Did you pay vehicle insurance yet? Because I know it's still all combined. Okay,
Those months ago.
because the policy started February 1st.
Right.
Oh, then we paid that long.
Okay.
I just thought some came up with it.
Yeah.
Then you guys are working on splitting that out.
Well, split it up or figuring out a way of figuring out.
We're trying to figure out what the breakdown was per vehicle.
Right.
Yeah.
Seems like, insurance guy can tell us that.
Remember the insurance guy.
I know we met.
Oh, yeah, you met with him, right? That was the last thing I heard.
Remember the insurance guy.
Okay.
He's working.
Is it okay?
Nick, expensive.
Yeah, I mean, I know I met with him once, and you met with him.
Yeah, to me, that was
Jim King was on there.
Yeah.
so he's working.
So we budgeted 26,750 for insurance this year, and that's what it was the last 2 years, according to documents here.
For fire.
Okay?
For fire.
No, this is the EMS insurance.
No.
It says in 2020 actual EMS insurance, 26,750, 21, 26,750, and then this year budgeted, requested 26,750.
Yeah, I'm over on the insurance this year.
Insurance is more.
But
So we're going to continue to try and find out from our insurance guy how much it is for each vehicle so we can
With all
break it up.
combined,
Correct.
it's still one big combined policy.
Yeah, okay.
I believe I paid for all.
You pay it off? So
We're trying to-
26,750 you think you paid?
We were trying to get, there was issues with splitting the
Yeah,
policy,
we were
but
trying.
you ought to be able to give us a number of
Right.
what percentage is who is.
We don't necessarily have to split the policy, it's just
Right.
where we're going to take the money for.
Right.
Okay.
50 pays what shit.
Right.
That's what it is.
But some of it's the building, some of it's the vehicles. Yeah. So are we good with the EMS stuff? You guys are good? I'm good.
But every time.
Like I said, obviously we'll have more, looked at it. This is just the beginning.
Okay,
All right, we'll do Tracy next. This is online. He doesn't have to hang out with us all night.
thanks for doing it.
Good evening, everybody. Can everybody hear me all right?
Yeah.
That's Tracy.
So just a quick overview. My estimated revenue is pretty close to what our revenue was this year. So, nothing, no major changes there. Going through the expenses, a few things got moved around. Contracted services, which we in the past have spent quite a large money out of there, hauling sludge away, anything that was over our land application permit. Took that down some with the Class A. We don't have any projections to do that, but the chemical costs and electric costs and stuff are up. So I adjusted some money into those accounts. Other than that, a lot of things stayed the same. So I don't know if anybody's got any questions or anything for me.
I guess this is similar to EMS where, well, revenue equals how much money they spend every month. I guess, do we have any questions for Tracy on either the revenue side or the expense side? I don't. Okay.
So contracted services, you asked for 10 grand less, which is what you just said. And
Which line item are you on, Rusty?
I was looking at that one, 4140 contracted services on the other.
That contracted service line item there, Rusty, is actually the attorney contract. And Rod had said to take that down 10.
And the other one,
The contracted services I'm talking about is down at the bottom of the page.
I see that's eight.
I took that one from 58,000 down to 40,000. So I actually took 18 out of that and put elsewhere.
Gotcha. Where's the place you put it for the other stuff? Is it on here?
I put, like I said, I bumped up the supplies, which is in about the middle of the second pages of the expenses.
Okay.
That's where the chemical costs and stuff comes out of.
Gotcha.
I'm using a lot more chemicals and, different chemicals, dewatering. So that I bumped that from 75 up to 90.
Yep, I see that's. Yep.
And I'm also really hoping that I can find an employee. So I actually bumped up the full-time salaries and the benefits and stuff accordingly. But I'm really struggling to find an employee at this time, but still working on that.
Okay. So once again, summarizing, you're expecting approximately the same amount of money in, and the budget is basically flat.
Correct.
Thank you.
Does he have any other questions for Tracy or concerns?
Those are the words we want to hear. We want to hear similar revenue and flat. Yes.
Yeah.
On anything?
No.
Okay.
Thanks, Tracy.
Thank you for your time, everybody. I'm going to sign off and join my family.
Thank you, Tracy. All right, so now, the one that actually affects the tax rate, the general fund. We can start fire departments, this is here.
Good plan.
Can we remove the first three line items, EMT, salary,
Just
and
give me a
overtime?
minute, everybody, let me find the thing. Okay. Thanks.
Okay.
The first three items,
Here's one, delete them.
Yep, please.
they're all
What's
3410.
page number? You're on?
Page number 24 of 32.
Yeah, they're all zero anyway. I'm just gonna delete them.
Yep, we can just delete them.
So A3410, 10110, 10120, and 10315.
Please and thank you.
In summary, we went from 297, 325 this year, to 308, 350 is what's requested for next year.
So I lowered some stuff, raised a little bit on the, guess you could say the normal stuff. Biggest raise that I'm asking for is just a reserve to go from 30 to 40. And then the radio or SCBA's from 15 to 25.
Right, this reserve, we're adding, which I thought we did this year. We ended up taking it out, the SCB reserve.
So once again,
We did add last year was 1,500.
Right, that's what I thought.
so we're adding 10 grand to, in this budget, we're adding 10 grand to the fire reserve and $750 to the SCBA reserve. And in general, the budget is 10,000 over last year's. Last year's was 298, this year's is 308. That's pretty much, I mean, there's other couple of up and downs, but that's pretty much the difference. I don't know about how you on fuels, Jimmy, is that in there?
Yeah, I left that alone.
Left that alone, so. just
Left it alone. I lowered telephone because we switched our telephones.
Yep.
So I lowered
Dropped that
that.
500.
I lowered down supplies, 500. I did ask for more building maintenance budget. Our garage doors are on the fritz. They're also rotted on the bottom.
Yeah, you went from what, 13,500 to 15,000.
And I did
So that's good.
lower communication.
Those things all kind of wash back and forth to still that $10,000 difference.
So that one's building maintenance is different than these two reserves.
Supplies down, building maintenance up,
Really the difference.
telephone down, travel down. They went down a total of 1,500 and building maintenance went up.
My only concern with the reserve, if we don't start adding money into that account, the village is gonna be in a world of trouble.
Yeah, in general.
Obviously, you know, I asked for a fire truck, that's just one, hoping that the AFG grant covers number 2. If that's the case, we're sitting pretty. However, our ladder truck is a 2001. It's 20 years old.
Right.
Replace that truck, you're talking
Millions.
1.5 to $2 million. Feels like we just bought that
and
yesterday.
keep putting 30 grand in each year. Yeah, it's gonna do it.
Feels like it was just yesterday.
I mean, we'd be perfect if we can get these 2 trucks. And we just keep pumping the ladder along, which we put quite a bit of money into this year, but
It's hard to rely on grants to.
Right.
I mean,
it's a big what if. So if 801's grant doesn't come through, that truck's a 1995.
it's how we've been surviving, which is not, not saying it's a good way to survive.
So,
This one, they take such good care of it.
this budget is also pretty much flat. It's $10,000 more. That $10,000 is all reserve. This is pretty much okay. And if we end up, I know you hate it, if we end up when we get done with all this and we can't find any monies and we're over, I'm not saying we're gonna do it, but we can take that $10,000 that we're adding to the reserve out of there if we have to, but I'm just saying, we don't have to do any of that right this minute.
Well, budgets can be adjusted throughout the year.
So the summary is.
No, I meant to get to a tax number that,
Tax
we're trying to get.
4.25% right now.
I'm just saying, if we
We've got to cut.
we run into all kinds of crap, a place that we don't necessarily want to take it out of, but it is a potential. Like you're putting down in your little notebook. Where can we take some out of if we have to?
0.5%.
Yep, 0.5%. Okay.
Well, it's 1/5 of the money we need, basically.
I mean, no luck with the hydrant rental, I assume, or is?
Last time the ladies at the office, Kim told me she asked for a contract, still has not got an answer back from Suez.
So that's the biggest number here. What's interesting to me is the actual 2019 and 20 is 47,000.
You find that.
We've only spent 34,000 this year. We got 63 budget.
Last year was 63.
I know.
I don't know what's going on with Suez, but you need to have a big, I'm not a village taxpayer, but I've lived in the village my whole life, that would very well upset. You guys are getting robbed by Suez.
That's the biggest number in your whole budget right there.
Didn't they?
Between that and flood insurance, we could have brand new fire trucks every other year.
It was like.
Didn't that go up to 80 or 90 grand and we
It
got
was
it down
90
from there?
grand
Yeah.
at one point.
We got it down from that.
For the water we use and what they charge us, it's,
So I guess my question is, what's the right number? Because we got 47 for the last 2 years. We spent 34,000 this year. We got 63 budget.
that other bill should be coming, if I was to guess.
Yeah, I'm sure they just haven't do it.
But that's another fight we gotta have because there's been a lot of hydrants out of service this year.
Yeah.
A lot.
Aren't there like 8 or 10 of the hydrants They showed us like the new design and stuff, and
And you guys go use them, it'll work.
But that's above my pay grade.
I mean, just the hydrant rental itself is 3% of our.
But it's not just hydrant rental. The reason you have the hydrants is it balances everybody's fire insurance across the board. You didn't have the hydrants. Your fire insurance would go up.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you need the hydrant. No,
It's not really all exactly all in the fire.
No, that's just a huge number.
Correct. I'm just saying that.
When you look through their budget, that's probably the highest. That is the highest number.
They know if it works.
Like,
Yeah, it all out of work when you pull up to them.
the next one's insurance. Is the next.
Yeah, the next tax is insurance, and that's mainly the station fund.
And truck maintenance.
And we buy the hydrant.
I mean, truck maintenance could go down if you guys decide you want to do truck. It's 2 years of bumper to bumper warranty. So there's,
That's true.
like I said, that truck cost 7,900, I think it was in my paperwork, 7,900 a year.
Yeah.
We're putting into that truck. So
Well, that's true.
there's almost 10 grand right there.
Well played, Jimmy.
We've seen that with the EMS.
No business.
Maintain the ambulances better, and now they cost us less.
You have to get an independent one, those people call.
No, not the extended one. They call me today.
Got any questions for Jimmy? It's pretty much
No.
straightforward.
so are you gonna lower that, the hydrant rental budget line to closer to the actual, or?
Well, we gotta figure out what the actual really is.
What was the actual last year?
63.
Was, okay.
That's why I raised it last year to
Right.
equal it out, but usually the last bill comes, I think it's either this month or next month, if I recall.
I just don't know why this one.
Because we've been waiting for it to show up and it hasn't shown up.
I just don't know why this one shows 47,000 for last.
Yes, Laura, if we got the actual total cost of the hydrants, we could lower the thing. And we also were assured that they were going to stay the same next year from Suez. We could lower that to whatever that is.
That may
Sure.
be one to check into, we could get, I don't want to say free money.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll be sniffing at that.
Might be able to adjust.
We'll be sniffing at that. Yep. We done with Jimmy?
Do you have a board meeting tonight or no board?
Well, not that was, no, because we got one Monday, so we haven't had.
Oh, okay.
This isn't technically a board meeting, unless there's something.
Oh, I thought you were a board meeting right after this.
No, unless you have something that you need us to do immediately, no. Okay. Come on, Ferris.
I figured it was gonna be until 10 o'clock.
Good job.
So Monday, next,
This coming up on Monday. Stage.
that's the reason I didn't get it.
So I guess what we want for the other department heads not here.
Yes.
A couple of things.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks, Jimmy.
Agreed.
Okay.
Made mine.
Yeah, all right.
The other department heads are not here, so I don't know, do we want to go through theirs or wait till we have representation? And we can do a little summary. So the clerk went down. That was mainly because of the EMS.
If Cook went down, if EMS is paying a percentage of the salaries of the.
It's this office staff and us.
Jeff's budget went from last year's $1,240,000 to $1,224,000. It went down 16 grand.
No, that's wrong.
I knew that was wrong.
There was 37,000 that Cindy had under the EMS department still.
Okay.
That was supposed to be DPW. So the new number is 1,261,883.
Say that number for me again. 1,200,000.
61,000.
Yep.
883.
883. Okay.
So we went up like 20.
So it's up 20,000 instead of down 16. Okay.
The judge's number
He's up.
went up like 4,000.
I had it right here a minute ago.
That's right. You see it right up here.
Huh?
Yeah, this is this year.
It's right up there? You mean up there where I can't see?
Okay.
I'll go closer.
Never mind,
didn't realize.
Never mind.
None of us.
never mind.
Uh,
So the judge went from 92 to 98, is that right?
Yep.
Okay. And it was all in, looks like it was health insurance, that's up
Right.
What page
6,000.
you on there, Rusty?
That's that one?
What page you on?
Well, the justice, I don't even know if they, page 23.
Fire department is up like 10 grand, which we just talked about.
Yep.
The police department is a big one,
Yep.
but show you some stuff on the revenue side.
Yes, because the police
So I have-
department doesn't have any revenue, it's just the outgo.
Right. So I had Cindy add this back in, this $45,000 on the revenue side for police fees. This is our contract with the school for the SRO. So they pay for our SRO. He gets paid out of the police department budget though. And then down here, this $80,000 under crime control. This is,
Where is that, Micah? Because I can't read up there.
I don't know, it's in the revenue.
Revenue first page.
It's almost about.
Oh, first page, it's first page, revenue. Okay.
If you don't have a new one, you don't have, they just had to do this.
I gotta have a new one?
This is-
They have that? Okay.
This is Officer DeMoose cop grant. So you'll see those numbers come out, like we receive them in on the revenue side, but they come out of these salary numbers.
So I got your new one, Mayor, where are those on the new one? Rodney, where are those?
And then this one.
Well, you just handed me something here, and then there's,
This one was here.
Probably not,
what's the number?
but she just changed it today.
So that 80,000 under crime control, you're saying is Demuth's salary out of the crime, out of the cops grant?
Correct, yeah. So
Why are you
today-
calling it crime control, as opposed to something that we can understand what that line item is?
That's just where she's stuck and she was gonna get with the auditor people. So these numbers here and these descriptions come out of a book.
Yeah,
So she was gonna try and find a better place to put it, but that was where she put it for now. That's the number anyway. So it's A.43.20. That doesn't necessarily have to say that.
that's 80,000 that truly belongs in full-time officers line item, right?
Yeah, so it comes in, we receive it in from the federal government, and then we pay it out of
It's
the full-time salary.
it's not in the full-time officer's line item.
No.
It's,
So I guess what I'm saying is this,
It offsets.
the budget of 204, 238 last year, and 283, 296 gets offset by that $80,000.
it actually gets offset by $44,000.
Right.
Because we hired Demuth and he gets $80,000 from the cops grant, but 40,
That is,
wait a minute.
that 80,000 is pay and benefits. So there's some that comes out of here, some that comes out of
Health insurance, retirement.
health insurance and stuff like that.
But whatever that final police budget is, $80,000 of it is being paid out of that cops grant. And I say on that, am I interrupting you, Mike?
Well, I'm just saying that the delta from the 81, 814,345 this year
Yes.
to the
This is
1
the
million,
end.
34,685 next year. 80,000 of that comes from the federal government
On that cops grant,
on the cops grant.
correct. So
And
that,
the 45,000
you got that, Laura? That potential
taken from the school.
1,334,000 is immediately 80,000 less because of the cops grant money. And then there's other monies. We still have that state grant that they haven't given us from 2018 that supposedly our state senators are working on.
That was for the car. Yeah.
So that's $72,000
That's for a car, yeah.
and a number of other things.
So that's just to understand the numbers. This delta is not, and this is going to keep exponentially kind of going like this with that cops grant, because we have authorization to hire 2 more guys.
Yep.
Girls. But the 80,000 could be doubled or tripled.
There's a lot of invisible money here.
So are we we're gonna do just a tiny bit of the police stuff right now?
What's that?
We're gonna do a touch of the police stuff right now or not?
We have, Joe's not here.
Yep.
Because explain what he changed from.
So you want, okay, you want me to do it?
Sure.
All right, so anyways, those full and part-time salaries are not exactly accurate in the idea of that we're getting money towards those. And we already said we're getting the 44 for Demuth. If we hire somebody this summer, say, second person on cops grant, we will also get his salary. That'll be,
Then you'd probably be able to knock off some of that overtime, pay, right?
well, yes, kind of. The problem there is, obviously, we need to have those full-time guys and we need to have their salaries paid. The hassle there is when we hire part-time officers at $25 an hour, we're paying them around 52 grand a year total for a one officer.
Right.
So when if we can have the cop grant, pay a new guy, that's $52,000 we don't have to pay a part-timer. So that's good for us. That's over here. Over here, on the other side of that is, we don't have enough officers patrolling. So as much as we'd like to drop a whole bunch of this, we actually need to have those extra 2 full-timers on top.
I said the part.
Let's talk about the overtime.
Yeah,
Full-time officers, right?
So what
Less
number,
overtime.
what number Joe changed?
The-
He changed overtime from 40,000 to 50,000.
he added $10,000 to overtime in his ask.
And we put 20,000 for car purchase.
We would certainly like to see the overtime going down, and we would like to have enough officers in the full and part so that we pay considerably less overtime. That's a whole,
If we need to cut the budget here, I mean, couldn't that be one item where we cut that back some, say overtime?
we could certainly try. Once again, our hassle is having enough officers on the street, and we have not got enough officers on the street.
Our union contract discussions, I would say that's a big no to say that we're going to be able to pull any officers. You know, even if we hire one or so, we're not going to be relieving anybody's part-time duty. We're going to be fulfilling a gap.
Right.
So,
I'm just saying, if you have more full-time people, you may not need as much overtime budgeted.
in our current situation, I don't see that happening is all. I just would not expect that for our budget anytime soon.
Okay, so let me get at a couple of things. First off, last year's budget, I'm looking at page 29, health insurance. And I don't understand this stuff, and Cindy does. But we had 57,000 in 2019, we had 50,000 in 2020, we had 55,000 in 2021, and we are at 97,000 this year. I'm not sure,
Well, that's a good one to ask if it's right or not.
yeah, how we get to that big a number. When we're doing the new Tompkins insurance, it's supposed to be going down,
Must be less.
should be less.
Which
Now,
so I mean, we have Dominic's numbers in there. But
that would add, Dominic's would be added to that, but I don't see how that's another $42,000.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about that, the number, and the chief also doesn't know where that, he didn't generate the number.
Yeah. I know.
So that's a question to ask. Is the health
The other
insurance.
numbers don't look that far out of line.
Do we have any officers certified to
Well, we
ride?
go from dental insurance at $900 to
No.
4,000.
Pretty, I'm sorry, two things at once, right? So I'm just
So that number seems out of
What,
line.
where are you, Mike?
Dental insurance, one down to health insurance.
It's up $3,000 from 971 to 3661.
That just seems high.
Um,
I don't think the dental insurance went up that much.
I don't know how that played with the new policy and stuff.
We're not adding that many new people, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, all right, so on the last page, the last year's police reserve was 15 grand. The chief asked for 18 grand.
So there's another spot.
So that's $3,000 there. The eyewear is 1,000 more. Once again, I'm not privy to that, how that plays with the contract and the health insurance. The dental is 3,000 more. The health insurance was 42,000 more. Retirement is up $15,000 from 35. Now, once again, I don't know how much of that stuff is done. So back to that 42,000 health insurance raise and that 15,000 retirement raise.
Which page are you?
This now is page
31.
28 is for that retirement, second from the bottom.
So I just did some math here.
Okay.
So the new number, 1,034,685.
Yep,
Minus the old number
yep, it's 220.
is 220. So you minus out down to 80.
Take 80 out of that, and
40,000, this budget's up over last.
140 over that. So there's a couple of things there. So we take that, I'm just saying, 44 of that, just so you know, is going to be in that full-time salary. And then some of it is in that health insurance that's gone up 42,000, and some of it is in that retirement that's gone up 15,000, but I don't know the breakdowns of
That
them.
makes sense.
All right, so
They don't add up to, if you take 44,000 plus 40,000 here, plus you don't get 80,000.
what are we talking about? Oh, the differences in the health and the,
Yeah.
no, it's not just down, it's other stuff. But those numbers will be up for down. So here's another,
We have a person.
so here's some of the rest of the stuff. We had no K-9 budget. There's a $2,500 K-9 budget on page 28. The training budget, he asked for $1,000 more. It was 4,500, asked for 5,500. The tire budget was 2,000, asked for 3,000. So there's a bunch of that stuff, little stuff like that. Repair budget was 41, asked for 5,000. Insurance was 52,000. It's asked for 58. I don't know how the insurance plays out. I'm just telling you where these numbers are.
Yeah, no, it looks like you spent 42 so far this year.
And some of the, once again, the various ways we pay bills and how things work, some of these actuals are not, we can't just make the assumption,
Well, this is through,
this should be through it in April.
yeah, this actual number is through, not the end of April. End of April. I forget the way the report.
Looks like it's one time.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a month behind, but we're now in the 1st of June. I thought that these actuals were 9 months of the year. I'm not 100% sure of that, rather than 8 months. Okay. There's a line item in here for car purchase of $20,000. Once again, if we get that $72,000 grant that we're supposed to be getting one of these days, it buys a car, which certainly is more than $20,000. So that $20,000 will be covered by that car purchase money there. So we got.
What do you mean covered?
Okay, so if we were to give him all that budget money that he asked for, 20,000 of it is for a car purchase. Okay, if we get the grant, we don't have the money, then we must buy a car out of that grant, but we no longer have to spend 20,000 of our dollars.
Right.
But what?
We have to raise the taxes
to get this 20,000.
We don't have anything on the other side.
That's where we're getting. Yeah, that's what we'll get to.
Yeah, we raise the tax.
Yeah, you might be able to cut that out.
But we're
Yeah,
gonna cut this out, we'll still get a car.
yeah,
I'm
Yeah, I understand. We can take that line out of there, and then if we get the grant, just spend it. There won't be in a line. Sure. Yeah, yeah, that's a place where, well, I was saying that 20 grand is coming off, you're just saying it a different way. Okay, so here's another play. We budgeted 68,000 to join the
Yeah, right here.
county's computer software. They didn't do it. They are playing around at maybe doing it, but they're still not doing it.
Right.
So that's something we have to figure out what we want to do about. Do we want to budget? Once again, we don't, and once we don't want to budget.
So we budgeted 68,000 last year out of the part-time salary.
We took it out of the part-time salary and put it into that
Right.
other thing.
We actually spent 39,000 doing upgrades
Of other
of
things.
stuff we had to do, like computers in the cars.
Yep. So we did spend a bunch of it, but that's 68,000. We'd have to decide whether we wanted to put that in a budget or not. So once again, since we don't have a 200,000 extra dollars, all right, which is a 10% tax increase, we have to find ways to not have that. That's something that can come out of the budget, that's 68, but we have to be thinking about what are we going to do if they finally do implement that and we want to join it, and then we're going to have to figure out how to take care of that.
Trustee,
Yeah,
can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah.
68,000, we already sort of played around with that, knowing that it didn't come in and the county was taking so long. So, last year we didn't have money for those car purchases, but we did end up buying 3 vehicles for the police department. We bought two $17,000 SUVs, and then we bought that Durango, and that all sort of came out of the understanding that it was coming out of that money, that 68,000 that was held aside and unspent. So
But
isn't
yes.
that already spent now?
no,
Even those vehicles?
that's last year's 68,000. There's a new 68,000 in this year's budget.
Oh, I thought that was a one-time $68,000 set aside for the purchase of the computer equipment.
It was, and we spent
ago.
it was, and we spent some of it elsewhere, and it's now been added, potentially added to this year's budget
Here's an
To do-
interesting phenomenon.
to do it again. Yes,
We
Mike?
take that $68,000,
Yep,
say we're not going to spend it this year.
Yep.
Our tax increase goes to 1.1%. With everybody else's budget is not touching them at all.
so that's probably the kind of thing we're gonna have to do. And then we're gonna have to figure out if they do implement, how we're gonna do that. And we don't have, and we need to do this, we don't have stimulus money yet, and we need to get after getting that.
So if we change that one number, we could have a budget that's 1% tax.
And then if we have some stimulus money, we have ways to do some of these things, if we need to do them.
68,000.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I didn't say, well, that, actually, the stimulus money is,
I mean,
that's a done deal.
I still question this number, I think should get better.
I'm sorry, what?
So wasn't the DRI, but they held it for a year.
Except the stimulus money has already arrived at places. They already got it.
Unless we have cash in hand.
But did we get
I mean,
I'm not saying to spend it, I'm talking about like if we need to spend $68,000 because the county does it in 6 months, we'll have stimulus money in 6
We know
months.
why the
But
county.
we're not gonna budget it to spend it, but we're gonna have that.
We know why the county hasn't done this. Do we have any idea if they even plan on doing it in the near future?
County's already got their money.
Doing it, but
No,
The
I'm talking about the
software thing,
$68,000.
Oh, no,
The computer system.
I don't know how they made their decisions on why they're not doing it.
I'm just wondering if we're holding 68,000 hostage in our budget for something they don't even plan on doing anymore.
Yeah, it was a money issue.
Um,
last year.
I've heard that they're moving along on that, but I don't know detail.
I heard it was COVID, sales tax dropped. They weren't gonna get the revenue they thought.
We get ton of money from stimulus.
No,
6 million extra.
So, yeah, it would seem pretty obvious that we're not going to likely not going to put $68,000 in the budget for this eventuality at this time with where we are with money, et cetera, et cetera. And then if we need to do it, we're going to find it.
Right.
That would seem,
Finding could be part of that stimulus. So we're not supposed to, one caveat with the COVID stimulus money, we're not supposed to budget it as
Right.
spent.
Yep.
Right, we're supposed to just get it and spend it on whatever we need to
so,
spend.
so we do all our budget and stuff
Like
and
computers.
like this, yeah, that thing.
Yeah, cut this out, yeah.
Police car,
Yeah, police car, what, I mean,
fire truck.
yeah, whatever. Stuff that's not in our budget.
So anyways, what I'm saying over and over is that that is a thing that we can consider removing from the police budget to get us to where we need to be.
I like removing it because we remove that one number and then everything else.
Yeah, but I still want to look.
Some of those numbers seem wrong.
Yeah.
Like the 97,000 for the insurance.
Yeah, we gotta find out about that.
Our insurance was supposed to go down. Why did it go up $40,000?
And the dental insurance.
If we don't,
Yeah, but dental
800
insurance
to
seems,
3,600?
that seems crazy too.
those are all questions, those are all questions for Cindy. She does all that.
Those
That stuff.
probably the new guys are signing up for insurance.
We only got one new guy. We only got one new guy.
Let's look at what some of these, the other departments. Health insurance went down for DPW. 176,000 to 122,000. Dental insurance went down.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty close to the same.
So you would expect that would be going down.
Eyewear went down by $600.
You would expect all that would be the case.
So I think those OPD numbers might be pulled up.
So we got to find out more on that. But you want to be prepared that, all right, so last year we had $204,000 budgeted for full-time salary and 193 for part-time salary. So just under $400,000 for officers. And you bet that's not going to be enough.
Well, look at the actual part-time. Our actual part-time is 241.
Yeah.
So 8 months.
And it's actually about what we expected in one sense, because we took that money out of the part-time to put it into the computer, and we did it with the idea that we were going to be hiring 3 cops guys, but we didn't hire 3 cops guys. We only hired 1 cops guys.
Right.
And if we'd have hired 3,
Yeah,
we'd have got another 160 grand.
well, that reduces the amount of hours the part-timers are.
Yeah. But
If we cover the same shifts, obviously we want to try and add shifts, but.
so I'm just telling you, you better understand that there's going to be a significant amount of money for
There's been
those.
some increases in the part-time staff, I'll say because of COVID. Because they've had, right, there's some of these numbers at least for the police department, have increased because we've had riding separate cars, different shifts, staggering things,
So we need to get to,
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of fluff there.
we need to get to, well, yeah, we need to get to 2 officers 24/7. And we don't have overnight on a bunches of nights. We don't have that. Partly because we don't have enough officers and partly because we don't have enough money, and we need to get to that. And so and the way we get to it is the 2 more cops guys, and if maybe another officer that comes back to full-time, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. So anyway,
Yeah.
that will get us alive on all these.
Yeah.
On the budget and the, but if we don't have that, our part-time budget's going to be more than that 213 ask.
well, and looking down the road, how do we build money? We need to increase this budget enough to keep these guys if we get from the cops grant. Long term.
Well,
We're
we
not
have
gonna
to,
get that 80,000 3 years from now.
we certainly are going to be having to, we've already talked about figuring out how we're going to have the extra.
We need to put some
we don't want a 15% tax increase than last year.
Now, one-
Reason, sorry,
Yeah, go ahead. No, you,
talking about staggering some of these hires, are
Yeah.
we staggering on purpose, or we just can't find people?
no, we're staggering not on purpose, and it's actually going to be better for us in one sense. It's not better for us right now about bringing some costs down, but it'll be better for us if they're coming online for that fourth year. We have to pay an extra 80 or 90 grand. Pay one this year and then another one next year and another one next year. That will help us not. But we are,
As these
we're not-
numbers go up,
good job of-
revenue stays at 80,000 or 160,000, whatever it stays at.
Yeah.
You know, how do we bring these numbers up and still not kill ourselves?
wait, I lost it. I'm sorry.
So over the years, as these numbers,
The price of an officer goes higher.
benefits, and as we hire more guys,
The cops grant is set
cops
to,
are gonna run out.
well, yeah, the cops grant will run out, but the cops grant is set to, it increases as these officers things increase. So right now we get
Yeah,
80
no,
grand for Demuth. Next year, if he gets 85,
Right.
we get 85. The next year, if he gets 90, we get 90. So we do get those increases.
But how do we build money
That's a good question.
so that that third year, we have $85,000 to cover that officer?
We're not doing that tonight, but that's something we're gonna have to be doing.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because yeah, I can take the 68,000 here and the whole village budget is good.
We take some of that COVID money and put it in a reserve for,
It can't be used for budget, though, can it?
No. And I mean, a reserve doesn't pay.
No. And I don't want to,
A reserve of money only pays people for, that's what we gotta do with the EMS with the sweep fund, right?
Yeah.
There's a pile of money there, it paid people for X number of years.
Yeah.
Money was gone. How do you build money that comes back every year?
So if you're trying to keep your tax rate at a flat and you get a whole bunch of extra money and you can use that for something that you would have used your tax money for, you can then use, you can't lower your taxes, but you can keep those taxes there and use that tax money for something else. You can't use the COVID money for that, but you can use the tax money for that.
Do they have a list of what the COVID money can be used for?
Oh, they do, we just don't know what it is right this minute.
I don't know all the rules, it's supposed to be used for stuff like the extra expenses we incur in the police department, where we had to have guys driving separate cars, burning extra gas, doing staggered shifts.
There's another 100-page book out there somewhere that's all about it.
Well, summer's coming up. Can we have some riding bikes, or walking in the town and village more visible?
It would be a nice thing, but we have so few officers, that's just really hard.
Well, they'll ease up on that fuel
That's true.
That's correct.
And the tires.
And they'll even lower their health
and
insurance.
it'll increase public relations.
yeah.
And if the healthiest one we ever had is Tommy, and he
Yeah.
broke his leg, I can't wait till Larry's riding a bike.
I don't know.
But anyway, yeah, no, I understand what you're saying about,
I mean, you
That-
can give me and the mayor a couple of guns, tasers, you run around.
But I don't need to go.
I believe you guys will be having bolos.
I'd probably. What's up in the lake?
Zorro. Yeah, really. You shoot it out and shoot, you get yourself,
Be wrapped up in the
you're both shooting, you hit each other's bike.
The criminal probably fall down from laughter.
I did, there you go. Gotta get them some kind of.
All right, we're gonna sidetrack.
Yep.
Yeah. Bring it off the range here. So anyway,
There's still official time here.
So we're not, I just wanted us to get a feel of the police stuff. We're gonna be doing more with that.
we went through the fire department. The court is roughly the same.
You had a request for full-time insurance for
Right, he added
secretary.
somebody up there needs insurance that doesn't have it today.
We're talking, his one secretary?
Yeah. So-
Doesn't have that benefit.
No.
And he would like her to have that benefit?
Right.
That's an expensive benefit there, Dave.
So, and just for comparison, right, his insurance was $1,300 this year. Budgeted at $7,300 next year. But So then adding that one person in the police department shouldn't increase our insurance to 40,000.
Oh, it does not remove. It's only, yeah. Sure.
So 40,000. I don't know.
Let's say 40,000.
So this health insurance, it says it was 13.7. Who was that for?
That's the judge himself.
Yeah, I don't think so.
The judge gets health insurance?
It's,
He's part-time,
it's
right?
Diane, it says, and.
Yeah, but it says that the health insurance was 1360, 1370, 1370. So what were we buying for that? And now it's going to be 7,300.
She wants regular health.
So some health insurance was being purchased and wants to be part of the regular.
Yes.
And that's not the full amount, that's only. One next year. It doesn't start until like January of next year.
Right, because our insurance is January now.
So, yeah,
So August, September, October, November, December,
so I'm just saying.
5/12 of the year,
If
it'd be double it. So insurance would be 15 grand.
you decide. It's up to you.
We ain't going to decide that tonight.
That's the big change there. DPW, there really wasn't much change.
So you guys were talking about the courts, health insurance is going up. They want to have it go up by an extra 5,000 or 6,000. Is that where it was?
Yeah.
This year would be 6,000. What Rod is saying, next year will be double that because this is only half the year. Because our fiscal year starts in August, and our insurance year starts in January.
So that person wouldn't be able to be signed on to the health insurance till January, and that from January till next August would cost us $6,000. And then the year after that would cost us $10,000, $11,000, $12,000.
So this is a part-time worker and he wants to add health insurance for that worker?
No, she's a full-time.
The worker's full-time.
A full-time worker.
It's a clerk.
So she's
The
opted
judge
out.
is part-time, clerk is full-time.
Yeah, she's out there.
Laura, we're not deciding that tonight.
Okay, but that's what that item is?
Yeah,
Okay,
we're just informing ourselves.
okay.
Apparently her husband's retiring and they lose his benefit, so
Right.
they want to.
So
That's a nice raise.
Yeah. DPW went from 1,240,000 to 1,260,000.
$83.
So I don't know where the change is here. Jeff's not here to say. 20-some thousand.
I didn't go through that line by line, but I will another time.
Yeah, I didn't yet either. They got, DPW is the biggest budget. There's most number of lines. To find 20,000, I don't know where we'll find it.
No, so here's one thing I've circled on DPW for me. Page 9.
I don't have this.
You should.
Page 9, middle of page, insurance, DPW.
What's the number?
A 1490, 40, 270.
Up. You're on it. Line number 10 for you. There
So
you
got
go.
all that?
All right.
Okay, so it was 43,000 last couple of years, and then this year it says 4,600. Is that
That's a good question because the actual today is 43,000.
so is that a misprint or what is that? And if it is a misprint, then
So that changes that number down there.
that 131 down the bottom goes up $40,000. I'm sorry?
Look at that one.
Okay. Or is that the one we talked about earlier where we would, no, that was 37,000 off or something else.
Yeah, that was insurance again, right?
That was like there or something.
Let me find the rest of that pages. The back.
No, You sure that's not where the 37 goes?
You know, she put the 37 in here.
Which line?
I don't know. I don't know which one she messed it up for. It was down here somewhere. I don't know.
Go to 2700.
What's 27?
Is that the line for the 30, the 37 difference?
It was down here, 37,000 right there.
Where was it?
It was under FICA DPW.
FICA DP, so that was the one that was the problem.
Yeah, she had a label.
Oh, it was in somebody else's FICA. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is another potential $40,000 that we just need to find that out too.
And that was, this year was 30,000, went to 37,000.
And we have, under code full-time salary, we've got, and part-time salary, we've got 70 grand listed, a full-time coder for 40 and a part-timer for 30. You might, that may not be
Yeah.
how that's gonna be. Just
We
saying.
still have to hire those positions, though.
We need people.
Yeah.
Oh, we need it. Oh, I'm not saying that we don't need it. I'm saying, good luck finding your full-time guy for 40 grand.
Well, that is a discussion.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Because so that's an issue we have, is we get a full-time guy or can't find one. Some of that is that reason right there.
Yeah.
We're paying 30,000 for a part-time guy at 19 and a half hours a week. And we want to pay 40,000 for a full-time guy at 40 hours a week.
Yeah, we're not getting that.
So I mean, it's-
There's no code guys to go around anywhere, and we're not getting one for 40 grand. So I just, you better believe that's another 20 grand or more. And I didn't see about, of course, I don't know if she's got put in there retirement and other, and health for a code guy either. I don't know where, if that's in there. Don't know. Yep.
Yeah, that 40 isn't, for a full-time person, is not just the salary, they get benefits and health insurance. And all that. And those are broken out in other line items.
So those are just more things about, I'm just saying, when we play with the DPW, some things to look at. It might not be as little as we think.
Well, this number here is, we need to check on that, because that's really 46,000. Instead of
Probably is.
4,600, that's gonna change the number.
That's, yeah, that's monster. Yeah, we gotta find that out. What else did I put? I'm just looking to see what I made a note of on the DPW. I put a note here, street repair.
Who is this one?
Street repair on page, are you doing something? Street repair on page 11.
We did add 30,000 in code part-time salary. That's compared to this year's budget.
This year, we didn't have 30.
Right.
Now we're talking a code guy and a half.
I mean, there's a 30,000 on that. We have
Yeah.
part-time guy.
So, street repair, page 11, line A5110-40250.
Street repair, okay.
We got 90,000 the last year. We had 69,000 the year before that. We got actual 22.8. And I know I have no idea about this stuff, but the streets are, I don't know what we're going to do on streets. They're in terrible shape. Everybody's streets, everybody's roads everywhere are a mess.
These, and Jeff can correct me if I'm wrong. So this 90,000 gets offset by chips, which is 84,000.
Is chips a match? Do we have to match chips or straight money?
I forget what it stands for, but it's.
Yeah.
But it's basically state aid we get to pave our roads.
So down under chips, it's down the page farther, it says chips 84 grand as an outgo, not as an income, as an outgo.
So
But he also has another 90 roads, besides, the chip. He's got
oh,
more
so
than
we-
84.
so we spend 90 and the chip spends 84.
But he doesn't do it until June or July.
Okay, so something is, so listen up now, in this budget, there's an outgo here down the page there of 84 grand for chips. But there wouldn't be a place down there where we got that $1,200,000 budget that would show that 84 grand wasn't paid, that we get it covered.
Right.
Am I making sense?
So this 84
Yeah, it
spread
shouldn't be as expensive.
comes in from the revenue.
Comes in from the revenue. So that's when we do that final, his budgeting thing there, and it's $1.2 million. It's not really $1.2 million because we're getting 84 from chips. Am I thinking that right?
You are.
Yeah, you're right.
But this 90 is in addition to the 84.
Now, the 90 is a different thing. Yeah, the 90 is a different piece of road repair up on the top. No, I was just curious about the road repair. I mean, there is no amount of money that we could have in the budget for road repair that would be too much. And other than that, we can't afford it in taxes because the roads,
Right.
we can never do as many streets as we ought to do because we just don't have enough money.
That's true.
But that, yeah, I just looked at the actual there of 22.8 being spent so far. If that's,
He just hasn't spent.
just hadn't done them yet.
Doesn't spend it.
Hadn't spent them, hadn't done them.
June, July.
You know, right when that room, right, by 2 minutes comes through, you know, they'll spend it all within a week.
Yeah, do we do that in the fall or do we do that before that?
Normally about July.
Okay.
July.
Yeah.
Usually at the end of the fiscal
And
year.
right
start
there,
the next one, you know?
Yep.
Because we just sees what he's got left overall.
He normally tells you which roads he's going to do. At least he bets at least. East Avenue.
So we got, I'm going someplace else. In the swimming pool, we've had $30,000 for 3 years in salaries. And now we got 40,000 this year.
So I don't understand that, because last year we only spent 21,000.
Yeah, I would expect that we would have spent we would have spent less last year because of the COVID and shit. So I don't know. I'm just pointing it out. It's 10,000 up in salaries for the pool. Anything that changed significantly, I just made a note of.
I'll highlight it. I don't know why it's 10,000. Well, I could be, basically.
So we've been spending
How much does he have for chemicals? Because
in the pool.
It's gonna jump.
that's gonna be insane this year.
Let me find it.
And again, this budget starts in August, so this gets hit with like, you know.
Supply, I assume chemicals is supplies.
A year.
You talking about pool chemicals?
Yeah.
I assume that supplies, it's got 3,000, which it's been for 4 years, and it's got 3,000 again this year. Because there's salary, overtime, contracted, utilities, physicals, repairs, and supplies.
That's supplies.
That's the
My
only thing.
question to him is, can we get chlorine for the pool from August till it closes?
Where's $3,000?
$3,000.
He said he's got enough. He just won't
Good.
do it.
Yeah, we buy it both. I know we buy it from whoever Johnson's buys it from. So that helps. We buy it with a truckload.
So I know I'm jumping all over the place, but on page 14, under shade trees, and we had $2,500 for shade trees 3 times, and then this year we got $12,500. So we got $10,000 extra. I don't know what that's about either.
That's a good question.
We should have shade from the trees we put up last night.
I don't know, and the shade's still there.
Yeah, shade got more expensive this year. But no, I just looked through these lines and saw things that were up significantly and just asking the questions,
Well,
what's up on that?
Could that include removal of dead trees?
The trees don't
Good.
have any shade.
And then shadeless trees.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it could just be a simple
I
typo with the
Yeah.
board.
It could be.
Line.
It could be like the other,
Removal of dead trees.
like the,
Good.
After
$6,000.
every year.
I mean, that's under the maintenance for that, right? Which would be trimming
Yeah.
and things of the sort.
Well, you know what, I don't know where it would be
yeah,
in,
maintenance of shade trees. It's not.
it's, yeah, maintenance
Maybe it is
repairs.
cutting down ones that are dead. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought a good chunk of those were already done in fact.
But once again, I'm just saying, it was 2,500
There are a
before.
lot of X's when we rather like.
Stop painting them.
You know, Jeff said he had 60 or 80 grand 2 years ago for sidewalk stuff on some of these sidewalks that are
Yeah.
frogged up. And we didn't do it the last year or two. Do we still have that money? I don't know if it's in this budget. Do we have it left over? And are we going to do anything about
I think he's got some money encumbered for
it? Yeah.
get around doing sidewalks.
I know you do.
Yeah, I can't ride on them. I can walk on them.
You're not supposed to ride your bikes on the sidewalk, sir.
Sometimes you have.
That's all I got to sniff at on Jeff's for the moment.
All right, I highlighted those, so we'll ask some questions.
Just some things to ask about. Yep.
Clerk, should we go through theirs? Yours went down.
Clerk, treasurer,
Let's see, trustees, training, we got $4,800, so that's $9,000.
we don't spend that.
Put that back in there because obviously it wasn't my count.
We didn't spend it last year.
But now we're starting to be them again.
You guys like your training. Where's the next one?
Fran and I are spending $4,800 this next week.
Lake George.
We're spending that easy. We'll spend that tomorrow,
What day you going?
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Wednesday next week.
Yeah.
My wife.
I gotta do it.
Oh, I don't care.
I gotta play, you do my hand for me, I'll play virtually.
Rusty, raise,
Where's our friend, the attorney?
raise.
Attorney in here? It's a $40,000 someplace in there.
He went down, is that true? Or are we spreading him out with the?
Well, I went down a little bit in sewer.
Is it contracted services?
His legal fees, A 1420.40.330,
1420?
50,000.
Is that under clerk stuff?
50,000. Last year we spent 43,220.
40 grand on legal fees. That's our retainer.
We had 50 in it.
But we do have a sewer thing.
Right,
But remember, occasionally we run into points where we need other attorneys too.
right.
Yeah,
That adds up.
yeah, that adds up quick.
We need to take a time, we can take these.
Didn't we add a extra retainer thing last year for the management of the DRI stuff onto that line item?
I don't think so. That comes out of the DR.
We're gonna pay for that out of the DRI.
Yeah,
Okay, because we had to do that ahead of time so that they would, didn't we have to pay for that already? Because they're doing that service.
I think we got,
We haven't paid yet. We signed a contract with Hoffman and Gerhardt for legal fees for the DRI.
Yeah,
That's
we
in
got,
addition to our normal village retainer and stuff.
right.
we got permission from DRI to do that ahead of time.
Yeah.
Right, so isn't that that's what made it jump up like about 7,000, or it was like around 7 or 9,000 they thought it was gonna be?
no,
That would explain like why it would be different, right?
Well, no, I'm asking why it went down 10,000.
Oh, why it's 40,000 instead of the 50,000.
Just to make sure that's.
Did part of that money come out into the EMS portion? Is that like a quarter or a fifth of the money to pull out? Because, in the sewer fund, Coughlin and Gerhardt's is labeled under the contracted services, and it's about 30,000. Coughlin and Gerhardt under the general budget is this line. And then so if you pulled the EMS portion out, maybe Is it just like, that's Coughlin and Gerhardt's portion out of that budget line?
Could be.
Chuck, do you know what on the page before that, page 4, what contracted services at 30 grand are?
For the EMS.
Nope, on the clerk's budget, page 4, A 1320, 4140. Contracted services, 30 grand. You know what that one is?
I think that's the attorney.
What?
What page?
Page 4.
Oh, you know what it says? It says auditor.
Oh, no. Well, that's true, that's where we're paying the,
It says auditor.
auditor and Dan.
Sorry, it said auditor. Yeah, I wasn't getting that.
That's the auditor and Dan.
Okay.
Was you want to hire a full-time bookkeeper?
No, I just wanted to know if that, I didn't see the auditor. I wanted to know if that had something to do with the lawyer.
Still, then we have our,
Still haven't given us house.
we have our donations in here.
Yeah, the 2,000 apiece like we always do.
Russell, attorney on page 5.
Yeah, under the legal fees. I see that, under attorney and legal fees, yep.
We're voting a raise for these people up here.
Where are we talking?
Mayor.
Mayor, where are you? Are you talking about the public servants?
Page 1.
Yeah, I can trust these.
Yeah.
Well, aside from that it would make everybody in the village angry, the trustees don't need a raise. The mayor needs a raise.
The trustees need to raise too.
Everybody does.
Now, the mayor needs a raise.
There's much more than
All the
Maybe
meetings you go
up to
to.
50 cents an hour.
Yeah.
That's right. Now, yeah, you got to get to what you're worth.
So anyway. Anybody else have any questions on anything, I guess?
Why is there an increase in the election fees?
Elections,
Went from 2,187 to 3,000.
that's actual. Look at the years before. It was 4,000. It was 4,000 in the budget.
So the fee of the election greatly depends on whether or not we can use paper ballots or the fancy machines. The last couple of years, we've gotten away cheap because we use paper ballots.
We didn't spend 4,000.
But no, we spent.
But Fran, we spent 3,391 in 2020. We budgeted 4,000.
Yeah, but that included, no, never mind.
Yep.
Never mind.
So we're actually budgeting 500 less this year than we did last year.
And it will
Okay,
depend on,
well, I'm looking at what it says actual, what was actually spent.
yeah, so this year was like $2,000, but
Yeah,
everybody ran unopposed and we used paper ballots. So if we have to use the voting machines, it's closer to the 3391.
but we used the paper ballots for the last 3 elections.
That's all been unopposed.
No, when we ran too, it was paper.
No,
It
Well,
was all paper.
paper fed into the machine. Right, the vote.
Well, they counted it all by hand.
Not the first year I won.
No, some I've used machines, but it's just difficult getting them.
Okay.
If 35 is more than we spend, we'll have an extra $803 to do something else with.
When we budget for using the machines, we don't use them, we save them.
With the machine, you gotta pay the helpers.
Right.
And something.
Yeah, you gotta pay the operator of the machine.
Are we in pretty good stead for our first meeting?
Well, like I said, if we,
Next question.
we got all those questions.
Let's find some questions.
If we asked that 68,000 out, we could. That's the budget tonight with a 1% tax increase.
And then what you can do, if that's
Right.
an accurate number.
Yeah, we got to find out about
We're in the
this.
ballpark.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Okay, this official meeting,
This is.
I want to make a motion.
don't need to raise that bad.
The police chief would like to hire a part-time officer. The way that this would be done is he's going to sponsor this officer in phase 2 of the police academy. This officer's already paid for his own police academy phase 1. He will pay for his own police academy phase 2. He has to have a sponsor, and then he has to work for us part-time after that for however long. So he'll pay for his own stuff. He then has to be field trained, which actually, it means he has to have an officer with him. So we'll have 2 officers at that particular moment. So we'll actually be policing. And I'm going to, and by the way, that is important because Officer Gallagher, who showed up at 2 in the morning in the village of Owego in a sheriff's car, almost got killed by himself, could have got killed, real close. Anyway, so having this guy being field trained is having 2 officers, good thing. So anyway, we want to sponsor him. We want to hire him part-time because he has to do it as field training. The village will probably, when you talk about any potential expense for us, we will likely provide him ammunition for his firearm training, which isn't $1 billion.
Well, this is not gonna be one of those situations where we do all the sponsoring and hiring and everything and then he leaves and works with someone else.
He certainly has that option. But the sponsoring is no money. The sponsoring doesn't cost us any money. He's paying.
The only thing that costs us money is we pay him part-time while he works.
We pay him $18, and by the way, that'd be $18 an hour. That's our rate. So I'm going to make the motion that we sponsor Sean T. Hardy. I'll stop the motion for a minute. Sean T. Hardy is 25 years old and lives in Binghamton.
Does he own a bike?
Does he have a bike? That will be part of your motion later to get him on that bike. So I'm gonna make the motion that we sponsor Sean T. Hardy for phase 2 of the police academy, and we hire him as a part-time officer for his field training at $18 an hour.
I second that.
Any discussion on that, or should we vote?
Laura, you got all that?
Yeah, I'd like to know, so it's a part-time, just while he's training because he's going to the academy. And so he's only got time for part-time or something like that. Are we intending to hire this officer as a full?
We have no idea what his intentions would be for a full-time. He will not be working for us part-time until he finishes the academy, but he has to be hired by us to finish the academy. So
Okay.
then he will have what they call field training here for X number of hours with us after he finishes the academy at $18 an hour, which will give us an inexpensive another officer. And then after that, we will see whether he.
Well, then the way the process goes, you would take a civil service test, you put on a list, and then we could possibly hire him full-time.
Yep, that would be all that next process. If he chooses, we chooses.
So he's doing part 2 of the academy if he gets more sponsorship.
Yep.
Okay. And is this all in his budget currently?
There is, if and when he comes, he will just be another part-time officer, part of the part-time budget, as the police chief tries to put together enough officers to be here and fill shifts. So,
Okay.
yeah, there's no particular budget or major budget impact at all. We're gonna pay for his ammo at the training. That you want that? Yeah, I'll give you this. Okay.
So we're gonna give it a discussion?
Nope, we haven't voted.
Vote on it. Let's vote on it. Rusty?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
And yes.
Yeah.
As far as anything else, Brad passed me a letter that we are invited to Oaks Flag Day ceremony, which is on Friday at 6 p.m.
Where?
at the Oaks on Front Street.
It's pretty cool. You ever go to one of them?
Flag Day, oh, Flag Day.
Yeah, it's a pretty neat little thing.
They do the definition of flags.
Isn't that usually the 14th?
Flag Day, which is June 4th.
Okay.
So if anyone wants to go, head down to the Oaks, 6 o'clock, Friday night. That's all I got. We'll get the questions answered on the budget. Where we go. Regular board meeting Monday night.
Good, I don't know how long I can go out seeing your wonderful faces again.
All 6 days, right?
I got to last till Monday.
Laura, you'll be available for me to call you in a couple minutes?
Sure thing.
Okay.
All right. Well, have a good night, everybody.
Let's do it. Hey, Laura.
Thanks, guys.